Hello and welcome to this World Electrolysis North America pre-event interview. I'm joined here with Joel Moser of First Ammonia. Welcome, Joel.
Hi, how are you?
So we'd like to start off interviews by just introduce yourself and go into a bit of your background. So yeah, would you be okay just to share a bit about yourself and how you got into the hydrogen space?
Sure. Well, I'm Joel Moser. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of First Ammonia. We formed this company during the pandemic, actually. We started going in late 2020 and um, got going up to full speed by the end of 2021. The way I found the hydrogen space is that I've been working as an infrastructure uh, first lawyer and then as an investor for several decades. I won't say how many. And immediately prior to the formal formation of First Ammonia, had been leading an investment company called Aquamarine Investment Partners. We had been looking at a variety of energy transition strategies, and we found the blue and green fuel space around 2016. And that led to an understanding of the role that blue and green fuels, and specifically green fuels and green ammonia, will play in energy transition, and determined with my colleagues that this was exactly what we need to be doing full time, and reformed Aquamarine as First Ammonia.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Um, And yeah, I just want to grasp a bit of your view on the market at the moment. Obviously, North America has gone under a bit of political change. And yeah, around the world, projects are moving ahead. What's your view on the market space at the moment?
The role that the United States plays in the blue and green fuels markets, specifically the green fuels market, is as a producer, um, not a user. So it is the demand centers primarily in Europe, but also in Asia, that are driving demand as the regulatory framework, initially from the EU, as implemented in the EU constituent members, and also as expected in Japan, Korea, and even Indonesia recently announced a plan to measure and impose requirements on carbon intensity for hydrogen and its derivative products. The US has historically taken a different approach, which is incentive rather than regulatory requirement in this space. And the Inflation Reduction Act provided a very substantial tax credit for the production of green hydrogen and its derivatives. Ammonia is a hydrogen derivative. As is now well reported, the recent tax reform package from the current US government has shortened the period of time to qualify for that subsidy. Projects need to be have begun construction before the end of 2027. So specifically, the action by the US government may be impacting the expected production of these products in the US, but it's not impacting demand directly. I will say that it is perhaps having an indirect impact on demand, and that it is a market signal to the world that the US, as one of the largest economies, if not the largest economy in the world, is pulling back from its climate objectives under the current president. And that may impact indirectly on the thinking, but thus far it has not impacted on the action of other national governments or the EU in its requirements for reduced carbon intensity.
Thank you. And we'll go into your project a little bit later, but are the export markets like Europe and Asia, are they more attractive to you as a project developer at this moment in time because of that?
Yeah, we have seen no meaningful demand for our product being the what we make from electrolyzers. I know that there are folks who will be looking at the electrolyzer equipment market, but our product is green ammonia. We have not seen any meaningful commercial scale level of demand in the US for the reasons that I just articulated. There are some conversations, there are some sort of green shoots of a green fuel or green product market in the US, but the demand for this product is driven by policy at a government level. And the policy that drives the demand for this product is the ETS in Europe, the RFNBO in Europe, the rules that the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, is now getting ready to put in place for global shipping, the rules we expect to be imposed in the major nations of Asia. I've been an infrastructure investor for a few years. I've been an infrastructure professional for many more years. And I think it is quite clear that the private sector cannot be expected, understandably, to advance climate goals short of consumer demand, which has not really materialized in a meaningful way in this space. The objective of private businesses is to maximize return on investment, to return money to investors. It would almost be against the corporate objectives of a company to alter its plans for public policy objectives other than to be a good corporate citizen. The progress in the decarbonization, the climate change space must come from government policy. That's what the original multinational efforts were intended to set out. That's what the implementation of some of these multinational efforts in the EU have been about, and that's where the demand will come from.
Okay, and as a project developer, has this been sort of the main challenge in trying to align policy, or are there other challenges within the market that you've faced at this moment in time?
Well, there are so many challenges. We're a new company in a new industry, selling a new product with new equipment. So many challenges, but among the many meaningful challenges are to align the many overlapping but not necessarily coordinated policy objectives. So for example, we have 45V in the United States, which provides and will continue to provide for us a tax credit for the production of what, for the purposes of that statute and the regulatory implementation of it, would qualify as, perhaps the right term is green. There are those who object to the color coding. We have RFNBO, we have ETS. IMO has got a different regulatory scheme. So yeah, it's challenging. One particular example of a challenge which need not exist is that the European systems have something called mass balance, which essentially requires that ammonia that we produce in the picture, which you see behind me in our project under development in Texas, needs to physically move across the Atlantic Ocean to where it's in demand and will be in use in Europe. A better global system would be a global book and claim system, because wherever anyone anywhere in the world produces a green molecule as opposed to a gray molecule using water and electricity as opposed to natural gas, it reduces the amount of carbon emitted into the atmosphere. It should matter not where that molecule is used. And in fact, making molecules move around the Earth in order to track the supply chain reduces the value of the decarbonization because we're adding transportation. So there are ways that the world could work together, that governments of the world can work together to streamline the development of this industry. but we will muddle through. We'll find our way. We'll be producing this product in Texas. It will be initially used in Europe, and we have projects under development around the world, and expect to be part of the development of the Asian market as well.
Yeah. And yeah, just going into the Texas green ammonia plant, yeah, would you be able to share a bit of insight to the audience just about the project and what the aimed offtake is?
So we are building a project which is permitted to produce green ammonia using about 300 megawatts of renewable power. The project at nameplate can produce approximately 300,000 metric tons a year of green ammonia. We won't produce exactly that much because we'll be using renewable power, so operating intermittently or on a variable or fluctuating basis. We're working to maximize the number of hours we can produce, but less than 300,000 metric tons a year. On the image behind me, you see our planned project, including not only the trains of electrolyzers to be produced by Topsoe, solid oxide electrolyzer cells. And on the other side of the highway, you see our some of our planned solar power. Above, at the top of the screen, you see the existing Victoria Barge Canal and the Barge Canal dock. This barge canal connects to the intracoastal waterway and around to Matagorda Harbor, and so to deep water. So the product here being produced from nitrogen from the air, water from the ground, and renewable power transmitted behind the meter from some of our own renewable power and via the grid through PPAs will turn into green ammonia with a zero carbon content for transportation and ultimately shipment to ports in Europe.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, yeah, it does look like an exciting project, and yeah, congratulations for moving ahead with it in these times as well. Just your final question. Obviously, speaking at World Electrolysis North America, what are you looking forward to the most at speaking at the conference, or attending the conference?
Well, as always, the best thing about attending conferences is the opportunity to meet folks who we speak to virtually like this, an email with, to get to see them in person, but also the serendipity of others that we meet. So many of the commercial partners that we have in this project and in our company, in some of its global developments, are folks who we've run into, met serendipitously at conferences like this that are held around the world. Sometimes it feels like a burden to get to these things, but it's always a fruitful occasion, and I look forward to it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time here today, Joel. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Okay.
For those, for those of you interested in meeting with Joel, he will be speaking a bit more in detail about this project at World Electrolysis North America in Chicago. So, yeah, hopefully you can make it down and speak to Joel in person. Thank you.